How y'all doing? This is Cody with the Blue Chip Podcast by fans for fans. Got a new episode for you guys today. We're going to talk about the Terry McLaurin contract. We're going to go over some offseason additions. It's been a long time in the making for this episode, man. I've been taking care of a bunch of things, trying to get this thing set up, man. I just wanted to talk about a little bit of football. We're leading up into training camp soon, so it's time to kind of break down the positions, break down the draft, things like that. I mean, the draft is come and gone, free agency's come and gone. That's kind of the reason that I want to do this episode first, man. It's the only time I'm going to talk about it until Terry's re-signed with the team. He's got one more year left on his deal, but there's so many posts, so many videos, man, so many stories. Terry's not happy with the team, not happy with contract negotiations and where they are, which is, the basis for this episode, man. It's the only time I'm really going to talk about it again, like I said, until he's re-upped. He's going to be here, man. Make a long story short, man, for Terry McLaurin, man, he's the heart and soul of this team. I think it's very evident to anybody, man. When you have a quarterback that played like Jaden Daniels played last year, you had Terry McLaurin as a second-team All-Pro. There's always speculation until the deal gets done. This is the offseason. This is the empty time of the season, man. You're going to get the reports because the deal's not done. You get everything that comes in from everywhere. And, I just want to put the speculation to rest, man. This is really the time where it's, if the deal's not done, it's still a story. So, everybody's putting out, is Terry not happy? Is Terry wasn't at voluntary or mandatory mini camp. It's a contract thing, man. It's a business. And, the thing about it is there have been reports that Dan Quinn has kept in contact with Terry McLaurin. This year he got married. So, Terry's got a lot of things coming. And he is 29 years old. You saw DK Metcalf get traded to the Steelers. He's making around $35 million a year. This team made some moves, and I was going to go over that today about Debo, some offseason additions. Debo Samuel, Laramie Tunsil, that trade. You trade a 5 for Debo Samuel. That's a guy that came out in his same draft class, man. When you were watching them guys at the Senior Bowl, Terry McLaurin and Debo Samuel, man, both of them guys were like very refined in their route running, very crisp. Debo Samuel got drafted by AP out in San Francisco, man. So, he's somebody that, Adam Peters had a history with. He knows how he works off the field. Everybody knows Debo Samuel's an impact player when he's on the field, man. People want to call him a gadget player, things like that. But, you got a one in Terry McLaurin. And, last year when you think about what Terry McLaurin did for this team, it's a guy, he put up, 1,000 plus yards again, like he always does. 13 touchdowns, which was the franchise record for this team. When you draft a quarterback like Jaden and you have a guy like Terry McLaurin, man, like the one thing that you do is you build around the quarterback, man. So, like, you don't continue to build around a quarterback when you start by trading a Terry McLaurin. And when if you're going to make a trade like this, you're not doing it in July. You're doing it before April, man. You're going to get draft compensation that you can, build the team up with, things like that. And Terry McLaurin is a heart and soul player for this team, man. This is a guy that you have no questions about, man. He's the hardest worker on the team, one of the captains in the locker room, man. Like, he's been through it all from the Washington football team, from the Redskins. He was the last year of the Redskins draft picks along with Daron Payne. It's just with Dwayne Haskins and Montez Sweat, and Daron Payne was the year before that. This is a big year for Daron Payne too. And, it's just not a player that you let go, man. They talk about the money and age and things like that, because DK Metcalf is, like I said, that's a $35 million a season average. You think about that, but then you think about the fact that DK Metcalf is 2 years younger than him. But you look at the numbers, they all stack up. And the thing that I always say, man, is, go off of what you're hearing, man. So, are we talking about reports? Because Terry's never been a guy to put reports out, man. He's always a guy that stood up in front of the camera. He said what he needed to say. I take Adam Peters at his word. And Adam Peters has multiple times this offseason said that Terry McLaurin's going to be here a long time. So, I think to even address the point, like I said, I just wanted to do it because this is the last time I want to talk about it, man. Like, Terry McLaurin is going to be on the Washington Commanders. He is going to be your number one. He's going to be a captain in the locker room. He's going to get paid. I've said it on forums. I've said it on Facebook early in the offseason. Before the contracts even started going out, your floor is probably around $33 million a season. So 3 years, 33, you put a little .5 on it, whatever, man. But honestly, I've always said that Terry McLaurin really should be he should be our first $100 million player that we've had since Albert Hainsworth. And this is a guy that deserves that type of contract, man. There's no questions, man. Yes, he's getting up there in age. He'll be 30 September 25th. So, he'll be 30 when the season's, just getting started, a couple weeks in. But this is a guy he's not injured, man. He's always on the field, man. You know what you get from Terry, man. Like, Terry might not be Justin Jefferson. He might not be, the Jamar Chase, those guys that just have those blue chips across the board, and you see it play in and play out. But one thing I do know about Terry, man, when that ball's in the air, it's his, man. So if there is a blue chip trait to Terry, it's that he outworks everybody, man. Every offseason, he does something to improve and get better. So there's no questions, man. Like, if you were going to trade this guy, you would have done it already. Like I said, for draft compensation, for a player in return, whatever it's going to be. Like, all the pipe dreams of us needing an edge rusher. Well, if we're trading for T.J. Watt or Hendrickson, man, I promise you, Terry's not going to be a part of that trade. You don't tear the position down around Jaden Daniels and his development, man. You're going from year one, going into an NFC Championship game. You're not tearing down pieces that are pivotal to you getting back to that point or even further, because that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to build. When you trade for a Deebo Samuel last year, when you trade for Marshawn Lattimore, when you trade for Laramie Tunsil this offseason, you're not making these trades. You're not trading a Terry McLaurin away. So, like, for any report saying we should trade him or anything like that, man, it's to me, it's just crazy. It's a matter of when, not if. Adam Peters has always shown, like, whether he was in when he was in New England, when he was in Denver, a part of those organizations, as part of San Francisco and all that, man, like, they get their deals done with their vets, and a lot of times they're done in training camp. Maybe you get a little worried if he isn't there the first day of training camp, but I don't think Terry's that guy. I just don't see it. I mean, maybe he isn't on the field practicing with the team, but I promise you the deal is getting done. Which brings me to, the addition of Deebo Samuel, the Laramie Tunsil, already brought Marshawn Lattimore and these guys. When you're trading the assets that you traded away, we came away with 5 picks this year, man. We came away with Josh Connolly Jr., the tackle out of Oregon, man. That was a perfect scheme fit, man. Like a 100% scheme fit for this team. Like, as far as our blocking scheme, the way we pull our tackles, the way we pull our guards. He's a bigger dude. He's super athletic. And, like, one thing I always say, man, when I'm looking at offensive linemen, man, I like athletic offensive linemen. So one thing I can't teach is athleticism. One thing I can teach in the NFL is play strength. And if my offensive lineman can pull and do all the things that we do here on tape when I'm scouting, and the things that I like that also translate to this team and the things that they do, it's just a perfect marriage, man, because if strength is all he's got to develop, well, by year 3, when he's 23 years old, 24, and he starts packing on the weight and really starts growing into his body and getting the play strength to match his physical attributes, man, dude, this is a guy that, a lot of people are going to want to say, because Trent was here, comp him to him with his movement skills and things like that for a guy that size and the movement skills. But, man, honestly, like, when I watched Josh Connolly Jr. at Oregon, he reminded me a lot of Lane Johnson, who came out of the same school as Trent Williams. So, I mean, just getting back to things like that, man, like, Josh Connolly Jr. was a guy that I really didn't even expect to be there. I know, seeing mock drafts and things like that, you're seeing him down in our range, and, like, I just kept posting. I kept saying one thing, man. I was like, dude, if Josh Connolly's there, you take him, because there isn't an offensive tackle that you're ever going to get in the 20s with these type of athletic profiles. And the tape to back it up. Like, when you watch Oregon, man, like, you see James Stewart running behind him, man, Jordan James running behind him, man. Like, that was a guy that I talked about in the pre-draft process a lot, man, was just the way that they use that zone scheme, and they pull guards, they pull tackles, man. But, like, every big run play that you saw with Jordan James, that was behind Josh Connolly Jr. at number 76. Which is another reason why I brought Josh Connolly Jr. up, is because of the Laramie Tunsil trade. Now you got the left tackle position solidified. One thing that I've always gone back and forth with this team, man, especially during the Ron Rivera era, was, when he inherited this team, man, trust me, as a Skins fan, as a Washington fan, trust me, man, like, we've always had good offensive line play. Trent Williams, Brandon Scherff, we've had John Jansen, we've had guys, Chris Samuels, over the years. We always have good tackle play. We always have good interior play. So one thing that really, like, stood out to me about AP last year was, the tackles really weren't there. We did draft Brandon Coleman, and that is a guy that I was super, super high on coming out of TCU. I thought I had him as a blue chip guard. Said he would be just fine to tackle, could even be Pro Bowl level with his athletic makeup. Again, another 320 feet, 315-pound guy, 6'4", long arms, moves very well, pulls, same thing that they did in TCU, because every time TCU had a big play, it was behind Brandon Coleman. So it's just when you're watching the tape, you see these guys, man. That's how you grade linemen, man. It's your preference, it's play style, it's how did they fit in, and what did they need to develop to improve. So if it's a little technique here and there, man, it's a thing. That's something they're going to get coached on. If it's a play strength thing that they need to improve on, that can be coached up upon. But if it's a pull thing, man, like they just are not going to fit if your team is pulling and doing zone gap schemes and things like that. Which brings me back, to the Tunsil thing. Trading for Laremy Tunsil, man. Now you're moving Brandon Coleman inside to the left guard spot. Sam Cosme, he got hurt late in the season against Detroit. Missed the Philly game, man. That's a big blow. But all the reports are that he's coming back healthy. Tyler Biadasz last year, man, he stepped up huge from the center, man. Because one thing I was saying last year on the pile was, when you draft Jaden Daniels, man, one thing you don't want to do is put too much on a rookie's plate. You want them to be able to go play free. You want them to be able to read the field and be able to advance in reading the field throughout the season. Become more comfortable, get better rapport with the targets, and that's how you build it. Last year, we did excellent with Jaden Daniels, playing with Noah Brown and Zacharias and, the guys, they all stepped in. And, you saw Luke McCaffrey as a rookie. He stepped up. You see him open and things like that, but you see Jaden miss. But that's a comfort thing, and that's what I was talking about. It's about having time to throw. It's having time to develop. That's why these offensive additions are so critical for this team's growth this year. Because when I think about Laremy Tunsil, you're getting a top 3 offensive tackle in the league. The dude can play. He's a huge guy and he pulls well. He's super athletic. Again, coming out, a huge guy, had really good hands, really good technique, really good tape. Movement skills for a guy his size is just crazy. But when you add that piece on the left side, that's Jaden Daniels' blind side, you're putting Brandon Coleman, a guy who showed he could play outside. He had his best game against Myles Garrett last year. I think his only bad game was really against 3 or 4 snaps against Michael Parsons and some snaps against Philly. But you could tell in them games he was nursing injuries too. So, and that's just the nature of the beast when you're playing offensive line. When they have a defensive rotation coming in on that front and they're stunting and doing all these things and you're a rookie, trust me, they're going to throw things at you that you don't know. And that was where I really was excited about Brandon Coleman. So you got Brandon Coleman next to Laremy Tunsil. Then you got Tyler Biadasz in the center. He's making the calls. He's taking some of them things off of Jaden Daniels that he has to do pre-snap as far as setting the line and making the calls on the blocking assignments, which is something that veteran quarterbacks will do along the way. But for a rookie quarterback, for a young quarterback, having a veteran like Tyler, who is a heart and soul player. Same with Sam Cosme. Athletic guy. Both of them guys can pull. Having a center that can pull and fits to the blocking scheme, who's a bigger guy. It's just improving the masses in front of this, man. You want to compete with a team like Philly with the defensive front that they're bringing. You need names across the board, man. I always say you need 3 top 10 guys on the offensive line. Well, we got guys that have the potential all the way across the line to be top 10 at their position or even top 5. Sam Cosme's showing that he can be a top flight guard. Brandon Coleman coming out of college, which is, again, projection because he's moving to left guard, has the potential to be a top 10 player at that position. Any given week, all season long, he's that type of athlete. Josh Connerly Jr., same thing. Is he going to have some welcome to the NFL moments? Yes, but he's also going to be on the right side, and that's Daniel's play side. So he's going to see these things. Daniels has the athleticism to be able to move the pocket and be able to do the things. We're going to, of course, schematically move the pocket. But all these additions really make it a huge impact on this team because last year when we ran 12 personnel with 2 tight ends, a lot of times Zach Ertz was the only tight end running out in pass concepts unless he was hurt. And, he got banged up, but for the most part, he played the whole season. But relying on that again. You drafted Ben Sinnott last year, tight end, man. His one weakness coming out of college was he needed improved play strength at the point of attack in the blocking game. Well, last year he did excellent with that. And then we re-signed John Bates, he's probably the best blocking tight end in the NFL. And he gives you something out. Why? Because he is 6'5". He's a huge target. So now when you're running these 12 personnel sets, dude, you're eating up the middle of the field and you're able to take the tight end and let him go out the field and not just have Zach Ertz going. Zach Ertz last year was a comfort zone for Jaden Daniels. Terry McLaurin, again, a comfort zone for Jaden Daniels. That's why you're bringing these guys back. That's why Terry McLaurin's not going anywhere, because you're trying to build off of what you had last year. And the additions of Deebo Samuel and Laramie Tunsil, man, it's only going to help. Then you add in the fact that B-Rob might actually, for the first time, have a complete offensive line in front of him with top-level talent. B-Rob should improve. Austin Eckler has always been a really, really good player. You saw when he was on the field healthy last year, man. You know what you're getting from Austin Eckler. He's going to help you in the pass game. He's going to help you in the run blocking. Or in the pass blocking department, he's going to help you out wide. You can put him in the slot, do things like that. You just do a lot of things with him. Then you add in Deebo Samuel, man. And that's where this really comes in. Now you're adding Deebo Samuel. People talk gadget. People say a lot of things, he's big, he's this, that, and the third. Well, I'm telling you what, man, from everything I'm watching this offseason, that dude is cut up. He's in shape and he's ready because he wants to get repaid. He wants to re-up his contract. Same with Laramie Tunsil. Same thing with Marshawn Lattimore, man. All these guys want to be paid. They are blue-level upside players. They're consistently Reds. They are consistent football players, man. They're really good players, man. I expect huge years from all three players that we've traded for in the last year and a half. And to build off of that, man, like what Deebo's going to offer you underneath, man. We saw it last year with Naomi Brown and like a little bit of the Terry McLaurin, the screen game. Like we were screen heavy, and that's what Cliff Kingsbury wants to do, man. Get the guys in space. Well, there is nobody better in space underneath on the screen game, yards after the catch, than Deebo Samuel. I mean, he is that dude when it comes to it, man. And now you're getting the best version of him with the best quarterback, in my opinion, that he's going to play with, because I hold Jaden in that regard. Nothing against Brock Purdy. I mean, Brock Purdy plays amazing for San Francisco, man. He really elevates that team, and he does it with his legs too. But Jaden Daniels is a different level athlete, different level arm, different level everything. And just, to be able to play the game the way that Jaden Daniels does it, man, he's kind of really the first of his kind to come out and be able to beat you so deadly with the legs, but that's not what he's looking to do. He's looking to beat you from the pocket, and he does that. That is the first of his kind, because realistically, man, like Lamar, and as deadly as he is with the legs, it took him years to develop that trait. Cam Newton, same thing. Josh Allen, same thing. Like the guys that beat you with their legs, usually they take a little bit longer to develop the pocket game that Jaden Daniels has already shown us from his rookie season. And just building off that, man, like you're going to get year 2 Luke. You're getting year 2 Ben Sinnott. Both of those have been with the team for over a year now. They're coming into their second camp. They're more comfortable. They're pros. They're going to be stronger. They're going to be bigger. They're going to be more agile to the nuances of the NFL game. They're in the same scheme. Now they're going from year 1 to year 2. They're building off of that thing. Trust me, Ben Sinnott, I would really expect this guy to take a huge leap this year. Maybe about 400 or 500 yards receiving, man, 4 or 5 touchdowns, man, because when you see him after the catch, he's very, very good. And he started to make an impact later in the year. And those are the things that you just look to hope and see in a rookie year from the tight end, because not many players come out like Sam Laporta or Brock Bowers, and you get that instant impact from that position. It's a hard position because you're learning run blocks and run fits, and then you're pass blocking, and then sometimes you're outrunning routes, man. It's a really hard position to be and thrive in early in the season. And then Ben Sinnott can actually line up at the H-back position, where he can line up behind the line of scrimmage and just give you another element in that department. Then you factor in Deebo Samuel, our third-round pick, Jalen Lane from Virginia Tech, man. This is a guy that I'm super, super pumped about, because a very similar build to Terry, very similar like measurables, things like that, but he is an explosive athlete, man. Same 40 time, everything coming out, but his time speed play is on tape. When you watch Virginia Tech, man, with the quarterback play that they have, man, Jalen Lane is an electric dude, man. Like this dude jumped out of the gym with the broad jump and the vertical jump. And that just tells you that he's an explosive athlete. When you watch him, man, they bring him on end arounds. They use him similar to the way that we are going to use Deebo, the way that San Fran used Deebo, because their quarterback play at Virginia Tech was not the level that he's going to experience here. But then you also see Jalen Lane playing natural slot. When you watch him running seam routes and all the things, when he's running verticals up the middle from the slot, this dude can go get the ball. He's got good hands. He's reliable. And from everything you hear, man, when you watch this guy on tape and then you do the background work as far as like reports out of like Virginia Tech and things like that, football family, religious family, man, he's the hardest worker in the room. He's a team captain for a reason. That's a trait that we go after a lot, is the team captain thing. Jalen Lane was a team captain at Virginia Tech, man. I really think we're going to see something out of this year from this guy by week 8 on. That is a lot more than I think people are really, really talking about outside of the couple weeks after the draft when you're trying to project and look forward to everything that you get out of that position. Again, Luke McCaffrey, talked about him getting open and being missed sometimes by Jaden last year, man. Now, like I said, that second year, that comfort in the system, we already know he's pretty twitchy. He can make breaks for a guy his size. It's kind of rare for he's 6'2", kind of lanky, being able to break down routes the way he does. Well, he's very crisp. From the guy that played quarterback position at Rice to one-year receiver at Rice, to the guy that came in last year and was actually getting really good separation early in the routes and maybe just being missed because he wasn't actually part of the route concept or the scheme for the play. It's things like that. Plus, he's a rookie. So, again, Jaden Daniels, comfort level. I got Terry McLaurin. I got Zach Ertz. Luke might be open, but they are too. Sometimes you're going to take the vet. And that's what young quarterbacks do. So, to expand on the offense that we already have, we need Jaden to take these next steps. And that is all part of the development, man. If he's been on the virtual reality thing like he was before, and that's what helped him have so much success, everybody talks about the sophomore slump, but realistically, man, all he's going to do is break down his game, see what he missed, see what was out there. Oh, man, I had 2 seconds. I could have stepped a little bit left and just Luke McCaffrey over the top. He was wide open. Maybe that's 6. Maybe I settled for 5 yards when realistically we had 6 over the top, and we were already an explosive offense. And we were doing this with Jaden Daniels as our primary rusher. He was our leading rusher last year, about 900 yards. And realistically, man, like he's got the capabilities to be more than that, but we don't want him to be more than that. Realistically, like a lot of that is him choosing to run when the play breaks down. A lot of that is him identifying zone coverage and seeing that everybody's got their back turned in the back end. He's got one guy to beat. Man, you take them yards. Then he gets out, protects himself. That was something that I was very worried about with Jaden coming in. That was another development piece that I was very curious to see, man, because when RG came in the league, man, it was very obvious by week 5 he was not going to be able to protect himself early. And we all know how that ended up with RG3. Without the prowess of being able to play from the pocket to the level that Jaden Daniels has. Again, it's most of the time, them quarterbacks, they have a big arm, they can run, they can do things, but a lot of times it's one read go and things like that, and that's how it was for Lamar very early, but he's not that guy no more. He's developed, and now he's so hard to stop. But what Jaden Daniels is showing you early on is he's even further along in the pocket, and he was doing it with less players around him. I would not consider Zach Ertz a Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely level player. I would say Terry McLaurin, Zay Flowers, like those are two guys that, given the traits, given what they do, man, they both excel very naturally at what they're very, very good at, and they have their own qualities that make them excel in the offense. And that's why I think I'm just super, super, super pumped for this team, man, because we've gone over like 2 picks now, Jalen Lane, Josh Connerly Jr. I'm just going to close it off at the last offensive player because I'm going to break him down later on another episode where I get more into the running back position, where I talk more Austin Eckler and I talk more B-Rob, some of the Chris Rodriguez things like that. Jeremy McNichol, who was a solid vet for us. I'm going to do another episode on the running backs very soon. But Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, man, this dude, when he was in New Mexico, 17 touchdowns, I want to say, his second to last year in college. Last year, 1 game in Arizona, 18 carries, over 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. Was ruled ineligible. There was an eligibility question, so the team made him ineligible by not playing him on the field, so they didn't have to get any kind of sanction or penalties looking forward from that. But when this dude was on the field for Arizona, man, you could tell he was on pace for a really, really, really good season. Probably getting himself in the 3rd round just because of his age, the wear and tear on his body, things like that by that point. But because he did not play last year, this was a guy with basically missed time. Then he goes into the East-West Shrine game. He becomes the MVP of that. This is an explosive athlete, man. This is a one-cut and hit it type guy, and he can catch the ball. People talk about, oh, he didn't have a lot of catches, but dude, when you would watch him catch balls down the field in New Mexico, just on plays that broke down and the quarterback threw it to him because he was open, and he just needed to get rid of the ball, and he found him over there. You'd see him go up and catch the ball away from his body a little bit better than what you would expect from a running back. Just another element, because a lot of this conversation is really predicated on offense because of Terry, because of Jalen Lane, because of the Tunsil trade, the Connerly pick, man. This is what you do when you have a quarterback, man. I mean, not only is it what you do when you have a quarterback that you draft and you're trying to build around, like what you would do with Caleb Williams, what you would do if you had if you're the Panthers doing it with Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud in Houston. Dude, you're trying to put as much talent around these guys as you possibly can. You think the New England Patriots didn't do what they did this offseason because they're not trying to maximize their investment to return on Drake May? Same thing with Caleb Williams, man. Same thing with just Michael Penix Jr. out there in Atlanta, dude. Like J.J. McCarthy, Jay Jettas, Jordan Addison, man. You got the running back from, you got Aaron Jones, the running back from Green Bay, man. Like that dude looked really good last year. Sam Darnold, for all his deficiencies, you add into what J.J. McCarthy adds with the legs and just as much of an arm as he has, and then you think about how cool he was at Michigan, man. This is his time, and he's got the wide receivers to do things that he didn't get to do in Michigan because they were a run-first team. But again, that's part of building it, and that's why this is so much offensive base. I am going to touch on one position because I'm basically going over this draft class because of this. We drafted Kane Milano out of UCLA. He's a linebacker. He is an athletic freak. Used to be a wide receiver. There's a little bit of tackling things there, and he's not the linebacker when I do our linebacker breakdowns that I expect to really, really pop this year. I think he's going to play somewhat of that Jeremy Chin role maybe at first. I don't think he's going to see a lot of time on the field. It's going to be special teams. I think he's going to excel in that. He's a 4.4 athlete. He's got really good movement skills. He's a willing tackler. Sometimes it's just fundamental when you see a guy that went from wide receiver to playing linebacker, you're going to have some whiffs. And that's something he will improve upon, man. He's already got a history with Ken Norton Jr., our middle linebackers coach. And then to the pick that I really wanted to break it down, I'm going to talk. This is the defensive section of this pod. Marshawn Latimer, man, and then, Mikey Sainristil, man, Quan Martin. Three guys that I really, really trust on this defense, man. Mikey Sainristil last year, man, my favorite player in the whole draft coming out, man. I expect this dude to be fringe all-pro this year. Honestly, I'm never going to cap his ceiling, man. This guy is an amazing football player. He's super smart. You just saw as the season went on, he got comfortable. He was doing it outside, and I had him rated at the best inside corner, which is funny, man, because when Trent McDuffie came out, I had him as the only player I've ever graded higher at the nickel cornerback position, ever blue chip grade at that position. Trent McDuffie ended up playing outside. Similarly to what Mikey Sainristil did. You're just so good and they don't have the other players around that you're playing outside. And he did the job, man. Outside of a Jamar Chase touchdown here and there or A.J. Brown touchdown here and there, dude, he was locking guys down, man. He is really, really good. And he's as smart as they come. He's a hard worker. Mikey, you'll never hear me not be able to rant about Mikey for hours, man. Mikey is one of my favorite players, which leads me to this pick in the draft. It was our second rounder, man. Like, honestly, I would have been perfectly fine if Josh Connerly wasn't there. It was basically between Connerly and Amos for me with pick 29. So I was like, man, okay, Josh Connerly, dude, offensive line, get the help for Jaden. Yes, cornerback's a bigger need. Trey Amos is the best outside cornerback in this draft. That's very much how I had it. I mean, I very much liked Jody Barron from Texas. I'm a corner dude, man. I love corner tape. By Maxwell, that went to the Buffalo Bills, a pick after us from the Connerly pick. Man, he's a stud, man. Super explosive, dynamic athlete. But both of those guys are guys that I like in the nickel. This class was loaded at nickel, man. And then when I was looking at the corners, man, I was like, dude, outside, I'm just not feeling it. I did kind of like it in the middle rounds of the draft, like round 3, round 4. A lot of the guys that I thought were going to go round 3, round 4 ended up going around kind of where Amos went. Like, we started that run. But Amos should have never been there. Amos was a first-round player. Amos was he was a guy that I think I had rated 31 on my board overall. And only because I had heard some back injury things and things like that. But dude, like on tape, this dude was rock solid, man. Back from the Raging Cajuns, then he went to Alabama, had really good play in the SEC, went to Ole Miss this past year, man. This is a dude with length, man. He shadows very well, has really good eyes. And these guys are all, dude, Mikey Samerstill is a physical guy for how small he is, and he's a very explosive athlete. He's not like Darryl Green twitched up, for the Washington fans. They think when we think corners, we think Darryl Green, and when you're thinking a smaller corner, you're thinking Darryl Green. Well, Mikey's not that guy speed-wise, but he is super smart in the mold that Darryl Green was. He just does it inside, and he showed last year that he can play you outside, and there's no fall off. Like, this dude is really, really good. Marshawn Latimer last year came in, hamstring injury. We talked about it week in, week out. So of course, I think there's a little bit of there's a little bit of tiredness talking about Marshawn Latimer. Oh, we got to see it. He cut in this year if he doesn't play. Well, dude, let me tell you, Marshawn Latimer is that dude. He is that dude up here. He is that dude on the field. And dude, when you think about him getting beat, when I'm watching him get beat on the field, man, no, he did not look like himself, but he was always there in coverage. But I would watch him get tugged on a lot, man. I watched a lot of OPI get done from A.J. Brown, from Mike Evans, pushing off, man. He is a physical guy. He's always right there. And the calls just didn't go his way. He wasn't healthy, so of course you think it's him, it's not them. But when you're watching A.J. Brown tugging by his jersey and holding down, going down the field, grabbing by his face mask off the line and release from it, dude, if my corner's getting beat like that, I can live with that. So if you really watch the tape on Marshawn Latimer, dude, when he wasn't healthy, just wait till you see this guy for 17 games plus this season when he is healthy, man. Trust me, Marshawn Latimer's that dude, and he is good against the run. And that is what I expect out of all my corners. Mikey is good against the run. Marshawn Latimer is good against the run. Trey Amos is good against the run. They are all willing tacklers. Trey Amos, 6'1", I want to say about 195, 200 pounds. Moves really good for 6'1", man. Really good hips, man. My biggest thing about cornerback position is always feet, hips, eyes. Hips are the most important. Eyes second. Your feet, though, your feet will make or break you, man. Like, if you do not have good feet at the cornerback position, you can make up for it in a lot of ways with technique and things like that, man. But when you have elite feet, most of them guys are 5'10". It's just the way that it is. Trey Amos has elite feet at 6'1". As lanky as he is, he's very good at coverage, and he's very good with his eyes, but he can play on and he can play off. He can press you. He can come up and have a zone position where he's actually lined up on top of you, but he's dropping into the deep third. He can do all the formats of playing outside corner, and he tackles, and he's super smart. I could actually see him having 3 to 4 interceptions this year. I think Marshawn's still going to be our lowest interception guy this year, man, on the back end. Which actually I just wanted to bring up Quan Martin in this. I'm talking more corners right now because of those 3. Because if you look at our roster last year going into the season, we had Emmanuel Forbes, we had Mike Davis, and Mikey Samerstill was going to be our nickel. We had Noah Igbenamani, who we re-signed, and he played absolutely good for what he is in the nickel position where Mikey Samerstill was supposed to play. So we essentially had our number 2 nickel playing all season long. He did a very, very good job. Now you're getting your 1 nickel player in the nickel. This year, now you're getting 2 outside corners that are not Emmanuel Forbes. They are not Mike Davis, man. Marshawn Latimer is a blue chip. He's a red floor. He is a red floor. He's a really, really, really good player. He tackles, does the coverage ability well, shadows very well, makes the tackles, man. He is everything you want from the cornerback position. He's got an attitude, man, and he is a guy that the defense will feed off of. Knowing Dan Quinn, knowing Joe Witt, man, Marshawn Latimer is that type of dude. He is the type of dude that they look for on the outside for a corner. Trey Amos is that dude. He's very confident. Like I said, great feet. Great hips for a guy his size, man. The eyes are very, very special, man. He knows how to come off of players in zone, knows how to shadow into a zone that is not really his zone to kind of bait a quarterback and make a play. He might give one up every now and again on that because, dude, like D'Angelo Hall, if you're going to take a gamble, sometimes you're going to get beat. As a rookie, Trey Amos probably will get beat some, but I expect him to learn from every one of them things. But he is a day 1 starter, man. He is that type of player, and we got him at the very end of the second round, man. Like the 29th, 28th pick in the second round, man. Pick 62 or something like that, man. It's like, dude, to get Josh Connolly, to get Trey Amos, if those are your top two picks, man, those were two guys that I was perfectly content with at 29 because I had Josh Connerly as a top 15 player. He was my favorite offensive lineman to be a left tackle in the draft. And we're going to be playing him at right. It's not a position he's played before, but he's a position that athletically, this coaching staff is going to get him up to date really quickly. And he seems to have the love for the game. And that was something that you heard about in the offseason when you were reading up to the draft, when you're trying to get the coaching reports, the scouting reports, any little bit of piece of information on any prospect that you can get, man. You want to find the players that are in love with the game. All you ever heard about Josh Connerly Jr. was he wasn't just in the offensive line meetings, he was in the quarterback meetings because he's trying to look at the game from every aspect of the game and develop the skill set. And having that and being able to take that and develop it into your game and knowing what they're looking at and knowing what they're seeing only helps you improve your assignment. When you get a prospect that's like that, man, that's why I just said I have no idea how a guy, his build, his height, his athleticism, his makeup, everything that he's got, I have no idea how that guy gets picked that late in the 20s. Because that's a top 5 player if he comes back to school and comes out next year. Josh Connerly Jr. is probably the first offensive tackle off the board next year in the top 3. And there's a really good offensive tackle class coming up next year. Which I wasn't actually going to talk about this, man. I'm always looking ahead, man. I'm always scouting my boards. I do my boards. Pretty early in the off season, man. Once the combine is done, man, I'm pretty much locked in, man. I'm just waiting for injury reports and things like that. So I kind of move on to scouting the next class. And because I always have notes on them anyway. So I'm just refining my boards for the next year and just kind of clearing it out. My board's already set for the season once the Senior Bowl's over. All I want to do is watch that week of practice, see who I can move up and down my board. Maybe I missed something, go back and watch it, things like that. But my board is done by the time the Senior Bowl and the combine measurables come in, just to refine, just to make sure that everything that I need to know, the medicals are just right to everything that I'm seeing on the field. And so this year, man, I've really been diving deep on this next year's class, man. So, people are talking about trading for Hendrickson from the Bengals. And, when you're not in tune to the college prospects coming out, man, which is why I commend AP. And I love that him and Dan Quinn are very, very on tap with each other, man. Trust me, Frankie Louvu, and they will get sacks with players, man. I expect a big year out of Daron Payne. But the edge position is definitely going to be if you look at the Commanders roster right now, the edge position is the position that everybody's looking for as where are you going to get the sacks from? Which player is it going to be? Well, Jean-Baptiste coming in year 2, had all the length, all the measurables, looked really good, flashed in a couple games, has everything you want from the edge rusher position. I'd expect him to excel this year. Andre Jones and other guys like that, man, trust me, they will get players. I expect a much better year out of Dorrance Armstrong, man. I don't think he's going to have some astronomical leap in his sack production, but I think he will be around a 6-sack guy. Frankie Louvu, I can see excelling, getting more sacks, but that leads me to Jordan McGee. That's a guy I'm going to really break down when I get into our linebacker position breakdown. Jordan McGee, man, that's a guy that can rush the passer, and he can rush it from inside. I expected them to play him more last year, but he got hurt in training camp, so he kind of missed a bunch of time, did a bunch of things on special teams, but he is ripped up, dude. That is Bobby Wagner's replacement, man. When you watched him at Temple last year or 2 years ago, coming into our draft, he was a guy I was super high on for the mid to later rounds, and we got him. Didn't get to see him as much as we wanted to last year, but that's a guy that I think that can get some sacks. And I think it's going to be scheme this year. But when you're looking at the edge rusher position, man, you want guys that can set the edge and do things. Well, we got guys that can do that against the run. And, which is why I haven't talked about Javon Kinlaw and things like that, because I'm going to very much get into this edge breakdown. But one thing I wanted to mention about it was dude, when I'm breaking down this next year's draft class, man, I'm thinking about guys like TJ Parker and Moore from Michigan. Dude, honestly, man, there is so many really, 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 really good players coming out of college football next year. I'm talking this year's edge class was one of the deeper, more skilled positions in the whole draft, and it doesn't even come close. If I'm just breaking down my notes, man, we can go. We're there. Dude, Dylan Stewart's not coming out this year. Dylan Stewart is a top overall pick level defensive edge from South Carolina. Colin Simmons from Texas, man. That dude is a beast, man. He could be a top 3 pick. Your top guys right now, in my opinion, if you're looking off of last year's tape going into next year, it's between Simmons, Parker, and Moore for me. LT Overton out of Bama, dude. This dude is a edge setter, dude. Like this guy, he's tough. Just a typical Bama player, man. Then you got Kendrick Falk, Ruben Bain Jr. from the U. You know, I'm a Miami U fan. We've already talked about T.J. Parker, man. You got Danny Dennis Sutton from Penn State. Derek Moore from Michigan. That's my guy. I got him rated a lot higher than I think most people have right now. But dude, every time I watch Michigan, for as bad as their year was last year, that dude is a stud, man. I expect that guy to be somewhere in the top 10 by the end of the season, man. He's that guy. Tyreek Sapp from Florida. And then Makil Kamara from Indiana, man. These are just some of the names, man. And like every one of these guys has realistic first round talent. And I mean, you're not going to get that many names probably at one position in the first round. Now with the quarterback classes coming out next year with Cade Klubnik and things like that. I don't think the wide receiver class is very strong next year, but there's a good corner class coming out. The linebacker class is loaded with Whit Weeks and other guys like the dude from Bama. The offensive tackle class next year is loaded. And honestly, as much as I love them, we got the guy that I would have taken the top next year, this year at 29. That's why I'm so high up on Josh Connerly Jr., man. So, like I said, man, I really wanted to get into this Terry thing, man. I was going to do the pod. And I really, really wanted to like focus it around Terry McLaurin and just. But then I was like, man, Terry is Terry, and I want to give him his own due when it's time for him, when he makes that contract re-sign. Because Terry's going to be, I think, in my opinion, if I was Adam Peters, he's our first $100 million player since Albert Haynesworth. I think this ownership group and everybody is smart enough to know that they don't want Albert Haynesworth being the last $100 million player that we've had. And I knew you're going to situate things for Jaden Daniels coming up for when he isn't good, when he's coming off his rookie deal, because he's going to get paid. And he's going to blow everything out of the water for this franchise for things that we've never had. But that's what Terry McLaurin is doing at the wide receiver position. And that's why I didn't want to stay locked in on that, because it's been such a headache this year, man, just seeing people with the doom and gloom reports from Mike Florio and just everybody. And it's just realistically, man, like just be patient when it comes to Terry, man, because teams do not get rid of guys like this. Whatever the impasse is, whatever it is that's holding up the deal, man, this is just how AP and these guys did business in San Fran, Denver, and New England. So it's nothing different. It's just patience. It's just knowing that when Terry McLaurin is here, we already know what Terry McLaurin is going to give us. 1-7 is that dude. And I expect him to be right up there with Art Monk and Gary Clark and guys like that by the time his career is over. Because honestly, man, I don't see a fall off. I think this is a guy that's still getting better, even going into his 30s, man. Like the way he plays, maybe you don't get the physical above the rim thing down the road when he's 33, 34, 35. But Terry wins a lot more ways than just going the contested catch route. He's just great at the contested catch route right now while he's younger. But dude, like that guy is so refined, man. And I don't think we've ever used Terry to his full repertoire of everything, because we've had other players to do other things. And Terry was the focal point of the offense that defenses could key on, because Terry was the one guy. But now with Debo, now with guys like Jalen Lane and Luke McCaffrey, Ben Sinnott growing in this offense, and you got Zach Ertz another year in this offense, and just Jaden Daniels getting better at playing the quarterback position, man, it's only going to make Terry's numbers go up. But I really do appreciate you guys sticking around for the pod. If you stuck around for the whole episode, man, this is going to be a frequent thing, man. Got a lot more breakdowns, positional breakdowns to go through, man. I'm still going to get into a lot of draft things for this upcoming class. The college football season is coming up. That's my thing. And we're really going to break it down, man. I'm sure I'll talk about some other teams and things like that more on other episodes, but I am a Commanders-based scout, man, like as far as what I'm looking for, coaching staff and things like that, man, I got the coaching staff that I love to scout for. So realistically, man, like it's just my worlds marrying each other perfect, man, because as a Commanders fan, as a Miami U fan, as somebody who just loves scouting college football, man, this is the perfect marriage for me and everything that we're looking to do. And there's a lot of exciting things to come, man. So just thank you for checking out the pod, man. Like, comment, subscribe, share, whatever, man. Just I appreciate you guys showing up. Peace.